Margaux, thanks so much for coming. I know we had a few near misses there, and finally I was able to get a date that you were here in town, and it's wonderful to meet you. For me personally, it's great being involved in the FinTech community here and helping build the ecosystem, but there's not a lot of women, and I would love to see more women. And I know you have played a big part, particularly in New York, right? And as well as that, you're a comedian. So I'd love to hear a little bit about how you got involved, what the history is.
Sure. I mean, in 2012, I used to say, I'm the leading woman in Bitcoin, but I'm also the only woman in Bitcoin. So luckily, I can't really say that now because there's a lot more women that are involved. And one of the things that I'm trying to do is create videos breaking down, explaining what Bitcoin, crypto, ICOs are. And I think one of the hindrances for women, and I don't want to speak for all of them, is that sometimes we get caught up in all the minute details, and really we don't need to know all the technical details to kind of understand the general point. And that's what I really want to do, is just kind of make it in a way that's understandable and not super intimidating. And I like to say, do you know exactly why your TV turns on, or why your debit card works in the corresponding banking network? And I would say most people don't, and you just use them. So I think the problem with crypto is that people get really caught up in all the details, and a lot of the people in it are these tech guys that like the minute details, that's what they work with. And so getting people involved who can explain it in a way that is more palatable, I think will be helpful in getting more women involved. And I got involved because I'm not really a woman. No, just kidding. I am. Even though someone did say to me once, who works at Bloomberg, that I'm the prettiest man he's ever met. Which also was kind of a backhanded compliment, but I guess I'll take it as a compliment because I just say whatever I'm thinking and I don't care. And I got involved because, I almost started mining in 2011 because I had free office space, and I'm like, that's free electricity, that's free money, but I wasn't a jerk and didn't do that, or I'd be retired right now. And in 2012, I just started comedy the same day, really, that I met someone. They're relaunching the first American Bitcoin exchange, Trade Hill, and they needed a biz dev person. They're really just starting to form. I could help them raise money. And to me, it was something that I really saw that could actually change the world and disrupt. And funny enough, I met this person at another photo sharing app company, which is exactly what I was so annoyed about. And you get kind of jaded, I would say, living in San Francisco, hearing everyone's startup. And you're like, really? Do we really need another food delivery company? And so this was something that actually could really disrupt the world. So that was exciting to me, and I knew I was getting on the ground floor of something that could really revolutionize a lot of different industries. I couldn't give you specific ones at the time. Remittance is something I was very passionate about, and I also like to say then, we're used to things being immediate. We can call someone, we can send an email, we can even video chat, but why can't we send money immediately?
So it was I knew one of the co-founders of Trade Hill, and it was very disappointing what happened in the end they had to sort of shut down, right?
Well, that was after I left, so that's why. No, no, that's the reason. Yeah, it's like everything was going great, I leave and it just falls apart, which seems to be a trend. So it was really interesting to be there during that time, and even in the documentary Rise and Rise of Bitcoin, I say something about, there's this word no one's heard before. And then all of a sudden you see the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, all these giant publications writing about it and talking about it. And that's kind of that point where you're like, this is something that's real.
And tell me, where do you think things are going in the future as far as Bitcoin goes? What's your vision?
So Bitcoin, I think it's a currency or digital gold or store of value, whatever you want to call it. But I think it is something that has a use and is here to stay. We're seeing the whole fork situation right now. There's a lot of people who are very much invested in this, whether it's financially because they have Bitcoin or ideal wise. So I don't really see it going anywhere. It really, the only use case is pretty much a store of value transferring from person to person. I'm hoping we get to the point where it's more behind the scenes and people are using it without realizing it, and that's something that I think we really need for mass adoption. But there's so many other cryptocurrencies that have their own use, which is more of gas in a lot of cases or utility. So that's just exploding right now and really exciting and interesting, and we're starting to see large companies integrate that. So the landscape right now is still very early, but it definitely has this kind of ethos that isn't going away, and technology. I mean, that's really what it is a technology that is allowing us to do peer-to-peer without having this middleman, and disallowing a lot of fraud and having more transparency. And it seems like that is very much in line with what is going on in other parts of our society.
And tell me, do you have a funny, weird, or unusual story that you could briefly tell us about it being involved with Bitcoin all these years?
I mean, I guess it's just being involved in Bitcoin. It was really the first time I was the adult at the table. Like, I was never the responsible one. And then here I am telling people, no, we can't work out of here. There's raw sewage going down the ceilings. This is really bad. People are going to get sick. You know? So it's more of things like that where all of a sudden I'm the voice of reason. And that's never happened before until I got involved in this industry.
So very cool for you, right? Just to have a change.
Yeah, I'm like, this is new. My parents would be very pleased with that situation.
Look, I really love meeting you, and I think it's going to be a great panel. So thanks again for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad it worked out.